Hello there, friends. This is Chris with Peace of Mind Art and Craft, and I'm here today to give you a tutorial on what I'm going to use my snippet roll for. I finished the snippet roll. Here, let me move this stuff out of the way so you can see this a little better. It is on a one of the spools that I made. I have a video on how to make these spools also. And I wound it around after I finished it. This is the most recent video on the slow stitch ribbon roll that I made. And I'll unroll it and then I'll show it to you in its entirety. I hate to cut it up, but that's what I'm going to do with it, is cut it up. Okay. So, let's see, I'll start here. And what I did was I added all the different pieces of lace and fabric and so on. And as I went along, I did some slow stitching on it. Now you can do this with paper also. You could, you wouldn't want to do the slow stitching on paper, but you could do it using paper. You can do the roll, or you can use fabric like I did here. You have lace, you have some sequins, some butterflies and flowers. And the flowers are anchored down with some little beads. We ruffled some of the lace here. Here's an applique butterfly. We just kind of tacked this down a bit. Got a cross stitch. Has some grass with just some little hash mark stitches. This is a chain stitch, and in the background here, with the blue are some seed stitches. Those are nice to fill in a space where you want some color. Just use the little seed stitches. And then of course on this roll there are a lot of the running stitch, which is the major stitch you use for slow stitching. You can see the running stitch here. There's some more seed stitch. Use some applique lace and flower, and here's some more flowers. Some fabric with a little bunny. Here's another spot where I have the green foliage, and then I added some French knots for the flowers. Here's your lacy daisy stitch with some French knots in the center. And then all the way till the end we have a lace flower here with pearl. And another flower spray. Some ribbon. Okay, so this is a fairly long one, and like I said, I'm going to cut it up. I saw a little while ago, it must have been about 2-3 weeks ago, I saw Tina at Shabby Dabby Doodah use her. She didn't have a slow stitch roll, but she had just a paper roll where she used various papers, and she may have used fabrics and laces too. And she used it as a topper on some file folders. And so that's what I'm going to do today. I have a file folder that I've cut. It started off as a longer file folder. I think it was like 14 inches, and I cut it off at 10. Okay. This was the whole thing, and then I folded it over. What I did was I folded it up first. Of course, it was already folded because this is the bottom. This is the bottom of it. So he folded it up first, and then about I think it's about 1/4 of an inch from there. I made a score line along here so that when I fold it down, that it doesn't interfere with this part of the folder. Okay, so this will be the folder. It's 5.5 width, and then length is 10. So it's a nice little folder or envelope where you can put various items in, whatever you desire. You can put ephemera in there, you can put letters, and you can make it various sizes, your file folders various sizes. If you want to make one that's big enough for a regular size file folder, which is, what is this, 12, 11.5, 11 3/4, which would be big enough for like a 8.5 by 11 paper. What I did was I cut off another piece from another file folder, and I'll use this to back this one, and then this will come down. I'll cut off this flap here, and this will come down over the top here, and then you'll have a file folder there. I'll show you. I'll go ahead and cut off this part. And this part that I'm doing right now is just to get the folder ready to add the topping to it, and also I'm going to cover one in fabric. You could cover it in paper if you wanted to, or cover it with fabric. And that would be the front and back of the. You can line the inside, but you don't really have to do that because that's plenty strong enough once you get your paper or your fabric on this part of it. Okay, what I'll do is I'll cut off and when I get ready to do this one, then I can attach it to the back. What I'll probably do is use a strip of paper or fabric. Open this part up. And let's say that I use a strip of muslin. Don't really have one that's cut, but this one might work. And I'll either do it, I'll probably do it on the back. So turn it over. And I'll leave a tiny little gap, and then I'll cover over with the piece of muslin so that it is glued on both sides. In other words, it comes together here, and then just open it up just a tiny bit, maybe 1/8 of an inch, and then this can be glued down on there so that you have a flap that then will flap over the top of the folder. Actually, it will go this way. And come this way. And you can do it on the inside of the folder also. So I'll probably make one like that. Also, not on camera, but I'll make one and I'll show you. This one I have selected for the outside of the folder. I've selected this cool Paris fabric that I liked, and have it go all the way to the edges. I cut a little bit extra here to go onto the side. What I'll do is I'll have this extend just a little bit over on the side. I liked this salvage edge here, so I'm going to leave that on there. And I'm going to cut this edge. I'm leaving a little bit extra because I didn't want to cut too much off, because if I cut too much off, then if I cut too much off, then I'll have to cut a whole nother piece, because I won't. But if I leave a little bit extra, then I can go over the edges. What I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this down. I'm going to use 3-in-1 glue or fabric glue. Basically, it's the same thing. It's made by the company named Beacon. I'm going to put this on the edges. I'm going to open this out, so make sure I get it on there correctly. I'm going to put a bead of glue along the sides, bottom, the side, and top. Now I have cut this piece so that it extends below the bottom. If you have fabric that is not directional, in other words, it doesn't have a direction, then you can just put the fabric on this whole area all at once. But this does have a directional, and I'll show you what I mean. Put my cap on here. Okay. I'm going to bring this up to the top. Like I said, I like to see the raw edges, so I'm not going to worry about a little bit showing off the edges. And that means the top, all this top part also will have some raw edges. Kind of smooth it out. Now, if I thought this was too much on the side here, I can trim it off. And I made it so that it could go over the back just a little bit. And see how this is directional? If I had it go over on the back side, then it would be upside down. So what I did was I cut another piece to put on this back side. So I'll show you how I'm going to do that in a minute. Let me first glue this piece down. What I'm doing basically is just covering the file folder with a piece of fabric. And like I said, you can use paper also. And if you want to, you could do it as you would a collage. You could just collage this whole area and the back and the front as well. And I will link to other file folders where I have used more of a collage effect on there using paper. Love making these. These make really good gifts for people for various occasions. You know, like say they're graduating from high school or college, or they're even if someone passes away, it's nice to get one of these to put your things in there as memories of the person that passes away. Okay, so I've got the front. I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to I don't have this quite down, do I? Yeah, I do. Okay, I'm going to put my glue on here. Let's see, first I think I'll measure this. Like I said, I don't want it to go too far over the side there. Flip it here. Tear it. Of course, I'm going to save that little piece. And let's see how this fits here. I think I will this up here, and then I'm going to clip that off afterwards. So let me put on my glue, and I've got it going this way on the back. If I would have wound it all the way around, it would be backwards. See what I'm saying? If this would have continued on, then it would be upside down. So there are some fabrics that aren't directional that you can go ahead and just do the whole thing with, but this is not one of them. Okay, glue across. Okay, I'm going to match it on two of the sides. Both the sides as much as I can because I've already cut it. I wanted to, because this is going to be covered over, I think I might as well glue this down to here. What you can do after you get this finished is you can either sew it or glue it on the sides so that it's like a little folder, it's like a little envelope. It'll be closed on the sides. Okay. And what you'll want to do then is, actually you can do the closing now or later. I'll if I was going to glue it, I would put a thin bead of glue along this area and then close it out and glue it down. Or if I was going to sew it, I would start here and then go all the way down to the bottom, and then on this side also all the way down to the bottom with my sewing machine. Now I wouldn't want to sew across here because that's already closed, and if you sew on here, then that'll just give you less room on the inside of it. Okay, so you got this flap, the flap's over. You can cover this inside part if you want. I'm not going to on this one, but if you wanted to, you could. Okay, this is a little bit, maybe a little bit too wide here. So when it dries, before I sew it, I'm going to take my scissors and just trim it just a little bit so that it's the same size as this area here. Excuse me while I get some water. Okay, now comes the fun part, where I'm going to decide, since this is Paris fabric, I want to have something that's going to go with it. And at first I thought I was going to use this section because it's got the pinks and this little girl sitting on the bench, and that would work. But I discovered that this section goes along a lot better. This section with the rabbit, and then I liked that a lot better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my slow stitch strip, and it's kind of hard to do this, but it'll be okay. Measure it. I want it to extend just a little bit. What I want to do is I want to make sure I don't cut it into this area here, so I'm going to go ahead and clip that. Now I have this piece, which I'll be able to use for something, possibly another file folder, or cut it into other pieces. I think it kind of would be cool cut here, and then that piece could be used in a journal or on the front cover of a journal. At any rate, I have that piece left. Okay, now let's determine where I want to cut this piece, and I'll cut it. I will be right back. After I cut it, there'll be a little pause here in the video. Okay, I'm back. And then I have this whole piece left yet. I love this piece here. I think I'll use that on something. Isn't that pretty? And maybe here. There's a lot of things you can do with these slow stitch pieces. Or if you can't bear to cut them up, you can just leave them on a roll as a decorative addition to your craft room. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue that down. I'm going to kind of trim just a little bit off of there. I'm going to open this out. And what I'll do is I'll put the glue on this part. the area. And I take this piece of thread off of here. Now with this Fabric Tech 3-in-1 glue, you have a few minutes before you have to actually glue your item down to it. Okay, so we're gonna, let's see, oh, that's the wrong one. Here it is. So, line it up here. Okay, then I'm gonna turn it so I can see it from the front. I'm gonna put it up just a little bit. I'm gonna smash it down with my hands. Okay. Okay, what I can do next is, and I can cover this area too if I want to. I don't think I need to, but I do want to have some kind of a closure. And I think I'll go ahead and trim this part now. That needs a little bit of a trim, just a tiny hair here. Go. This might be a good place to put a strip of paper down. Just clipping off some of these wayward threads. I do like some of them hanging off, but it gets to be too much. Okay, now I could make a closure on here. I could use like a Velcro dot on there, and that would work. I think I'll try that. There they are. These I just get at the dollar store. And they're pretty strong, especially if you use the 3-in-1 or the Fabric Tech to glue them down with. And what you want to do with these is determine where you want to put this. So this is 10 wide, so let's put it on about 5. And I of course want to put it on the back, so I'm just going to mark it with a little, pencil mark. And these are fairly sticky, but I always like to put an additional dot of glue on them. And since I have the 3-in-1 glue out, I'll use that. Okay. That up a little bit. Okay, then what I want to do with the other one is I want to put it down on there like so, and then close it, and when you open it then you have it right where you need it. And you can put a dab of glue on that one also. And that's how you hold it down. Whoops. And the glue wasn't dry, so it came off. So I'm gonna try it again. This time I'll put it down on that one. This is just so you make sure it gets in the, you get it in the right position. There. Okay, now I'm gonna leave it alone for a few minutes. Okay. I think I do want to. Okay, now would be the time that I could sew it. And I would open it up here, sew it down, or just glue this part. Sew it down. I don't know, I'm going to go ahead and glue it just to show you that way. And make sure you get it fairly close to the edge, because you don't want to use up too much of the edge, because it'll give you less room on the inside. Okay. And remember, you have that little 1/4 of an inch there. That'll make it easier to open and close. Gives it kind of a little leeway there. Okay. That turned out pretty. A little pouch. And if you wanted to, you could put some ribbon on it to close it. Try some I think I'll make this double thickness. This is the seam binding, Hug Snug seam binding. And I need to order some more of this because I'm about out of it, especially in the tan color. Now, if I wanted to, I wouldn't have to do the Velcro closing. I could just use this as a closure. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move it over a little bit to the side of the lace motif there. And then to close it, I'm not going to tie a knot. I'm just going to do the bow so that it can be easily undone. And then if I want it to look a little shabby, I can scrunch it up. and kind of hold it in the heat of my hands. Release it. And that'll hold it closed also. That just makes a really nice presentation. Now, as far as what you put in this, it's up to you. Anything you want. You could even put in a present in there, maybe a slow stitch kit that you make up or something. I thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it. I appreciate if you'd hit the like button And also, if you're not subscribed yet, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for visiting my Etsy shop. If you have time to go over there, that'd be great. I appreciate all of you. Bye now.